Welcome to Research Summary Passages. This is actually my favorite passage type on the ACT. So before we get started, I want to tell you something really important. I want you to print out the corresponding handout that goes with this section. We've got a lot of really good strategies. We're going to look at a real research summary passage type, but it's only going to show up in parts on the screen. And I want you to have the authentic experience, like you're really in the test, looking at the whole passage. So print that out so you've got all the graphs and tables all together. Okay. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, just what to expect, a quick recap of the research summary section. Then we're going to talk about some amazing strategies for this section. These kinds of passages usually are what freak out students the most. You're going to see a lot of terminology, a lot of scary graphs and charts. Don't worry about it. You're going to feel great after we're done. So let's get started. Let's do a quick recap of the research summary passages. 3 of them on the test, 6 questions in each passage, and there's just going to be a few paragraphs of information about experiments that happen and some related graphs or charts. Let me show you an example just to refresh your memory. Here we go, we've got our intro, and hopefully you have this printed out. So you'll see the intro will come first, a lot of scientific wording going on here, and then you'll have experiment 1, what happened in experiment 1, a table about experiment 1, a diagram, and then experiment 2. So that is what a research summary passage usually looks like. Let's talk about some great strategies. So let's talk about some great strategies for the research summary passages. Here's the first one. This is huge. Don't read the paragraphs or look at the diagrams. How amazing is that? This is a huge time saver. Remember the example we just looked at? We've got a big paragraph here. We actually don't even need it. I'll exit out. We had a whole paragraph about our experiment. You don't need that either. And you got a diagram, and it looked really complicated too. You were wondering, oh my God, do I need that formula? No, don't worry about that either. Very, very cool. So on the research summary, the major time-saving strategy is that, you know what? You can get by without reading any of the long text full of all this jargon and scientific terminology that you're really freaked out by. Instead, the really important thing is to really pick apart the tables, the charts, and the graphs that you'll see. Okay, really analyze the charts and graphs. That's what you're going to want to do. And after you do that, you're going to head to the questions and answer the questions. Okay, how do you really analyze the charts and graphs? Let's take a look. You're going to ask yourself, first of all, what are they measuring? Things like, what are the labels here? You know, if it's a line graph, what are the axes? You know, the labels on the X and Y. Things like just what's going on. Okay, just what's happening in that table or that chart. Next, patterns. You're always going to want to ask yourself, are there significant trends happening here? The ACT will always nail you if you don't notice a major trend that's happening. So ask yourself, you know, as one thing increases, does the other thing increase? Or, you know, as one thing increases, does the other one decrease? Things like that about trends. Last, how do the tables and charts relate to each other? Usually there's going to be some sort of relationship, so keep an eye out because they're going to ask you about it. Great, so that's how you look at a chart or a graph. Okay, now what happens when you've read the chart or graph, you feel really good about it, you head to the questions, and the cool part is, like we talked about in our science overview, a lot of the questions just ask details from the chart and about trends, so you're set.